Welcome to the WRAL Daily Download. I'm Amanda Lamb. In today's deep dive conversation, we're going to be talking with Ed Szymanskis and Paige Calloway about organ donation. First of all, thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. This is a really important story, and I'm glad we're going to be able to tell it. First of all, I'm just going to set the scene about why we're doing this show today. A year ago this week, Aaron Szymanskis, who was an assignment editor here at WRAL, a beloved colleague, was hit and killed on the side of the road during a snowstorm by a hit-and-run driver. Ed is her husband. He is here. And Ed, take us back to that night. I mean, this was obviously unexpected, and it was a tragedy for everybody who knew Aaron, but specifically for you and your kids. So
we creatures of habit. So every Friday night was pizza night in the Szymanskis household, whether it was just Aaron and I or all of us. And the other routine was that Aaron would always text me when she was coming home from work. So at 6 o'clock that Friday night, she texted me and said, "Hey, I'm on my way." The whole idea behind that was basically so I could have dinner more or less ready as soon as she walked in the door. So must have been about an hour later, I didn't hear from her, so I texted her, nothing. 15 minutes later, called her, nothing. So I was thinking, do I go out? And the snow had just started to fall, so I was debating, do I go out and try to see what's going on? And all of a sudden, her cell phone rings. I go, "Hi, where are you?" And the person on the other end goes, "Hi, are you a relative of Aaron Szymanskis?" And I said, "Yes. She's been involved in a hit and run." A hit and run? She was driving home. I couldn't figure out what was going on. So they said, "You better come to the hospital." And from that point onwards, that's when our lives changed after that phone call.
And I mean, pretty quickly, you knew that she was not going to survive. And
yes.
Tell me how quickly this conversation started about organ donation. I mean, you're in shock, but yet this is a very important conversation. How did that begin?
So what happened was that Sunday, the kids and I decided to take Aaron off life support. So the Wake Med folks said, "Okay, fine, thanks. We're going to take you to this room, and we want to have some people come and talk to you." And we thought it was going to be, the three of us thought, okay, it's going to be a grief counselor. So this person comes in and says, "Thank you so much. Do you still want Aaron's organs to be harvested?" And the three of us looked at each other in shock and slapped our heads and went, "Oh my goodness, we totally forgot." And of course the answer was yes, that's what Aaron would have wanted. And hence there started the process of lining up people, lining up operating rooms, et cetera, et cetera.
Tell me about Erin. I mean, I knew Erin. I worked with Erin. She was funny. She was smart. She was hardworking. She gave me lots of advice about parenting. But tell me about your Erin.
She was a mom to everybody. She was a mom to me as well. She was the rock, the glue that held the family together. And over time, yes, she became a diehard Hurricanes fan as well, which didn't take much convincing. But she was a lot of fun, and she cared about everybody, not just our family. She cared about everybody. And you don't realize what impact she had on everybody in the community as well until she's gone. And that's probably another comforting thing to know about her legacy.
So before we go to break, you get a letter, or you get a Facebook message.
Yes.
From a woman named Paige Calloway, who's here today. And what did it say? And tell me how you reacted. So
the ironic part was I was driving back from Canada when I saw the message come in, and I thought, I can't read this while I'm driving because I'd probably have an accident. So I waited until I got home and I read it. And it moved me in such a way that I hadn't been moved before, both from a happiness perspective and also from a sorrow perspective, that it reminded me what we lost, but on the flip side, also what we gained and what such a powerful impact that an organ donation can have.
Would tell me what the letter said.
It was basically that sort of sense of joy. Her family said that they got their old mother back.
That she had received the kidney, one of the kidneys from Aaron.
Yeah. And just the she understood what we were going through, which was, I think, sort of uncommon from what people have said. So she really was grateful for what we were going through, but also sad what we were going through as well.
So really powerful. It really
Absolutely.
affected you.
It moved me. Absolutely moved me. It moved me even to the point that our priest used that part of her message to me in a homily the following week.
And today is the first time
Yes.
you guys met.
Yes. It was great.
It's great.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to be back after the break with more on this, and we're going to talk to the woman who received one of Aaron's kidneys and talk about how it changed her life. Welcome back to the WRAL Daily Download. I'm talking with Paige Calloway about receiving an organ donation from our dear colleague, Aaron Szymanskis, who passed away. Paige, tell me what your life was like before this.
It was not much of a life. I mean, I was sick a lot. And I was tired all the time. I didn't have any energy, and I always said that I was existing, but I wasn't living. So.
And you were on dialysis for many, many hours a day.
Yeah, I did peritoneal dialysis for 9.5 hours a day.
And this was a genetic condition that you had.
Yes. I have a genetic condition, hereditary, and it's called polycystic kidney disease.
So you had gotten down to a very small percentage of function. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so I was actually at 12% function when they put me on dialysis. But at the time of the transplant, when I had it, my kidney function was down to 6%.
Which is pretty unbelievable to imagine that
bad.
you were. And tell me, Paige, how old are you? And you have kids, you have grandkids, you have a job, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm 52. I have 5 children and 2 grandchildren.
So you wanted to be more active in your life, but I mean, what was it like? Did you feel like you were even living at that point?
No, and a good example was this past September. We had taken a family vacation. We usually go every year, but we went to Nag's Head. And this was the first year that I actually, in many years, had actually participated. We actually went and climbed the lighthouse, and I climbed all the steps all the way up to the top, and we went to the sand dunes, and I was able to climb the sand dunes with them, and just everything and anything that they could do or the kids could do or whatever I could do this time. And it was usually, me sitting on side watching them
do things because you couldn't participate.
Yeah.
So take me back for a minute. Tell me about getting the call. You got a call that there might be a match. Mm-hmm. They told you to get ready. Mm-hmm. You didn't want to get your hopes up. So what was it like when they finally called and said, hey, this is it?
Just mind-blowing. I had gone ahead and actually, I had my bag packed and in the car and stuff just in case. But I'd actually gone ahead and went to work that morning because I was like, well, I don't know if I'm going to get it or not. So I still got to, just keep going. And I had literally just walked in and opened the door, and they called me and asked me how soon I could be there.
And this was Wake Forest Hospital.
Yes. They have an abdominal organ transplant team.
I gotcha. And because you live in Yadkin County.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you get this call. You're like, I'm going to be there in 30 minutes. You were on the way.
Yes.
And tell me about all those mixed feelings. You said you had all these mixed feelings. You were joyful, but then you were also really aware of what this meant for another family.
Absolutely. I knew that at that time, I didn't know what I know today, that she had already actually been pronounced and, had that past Sunday, because this was Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. But I just knew, even on the way to the hospital, even while we were going there, I was just praying for her family, because I knew that this was such an amazing moment for me and my family, but that somebody else was really going to be suffering. And, this was really going to hurt somebody else. So,
such a gift, though, right?
Amazing gift. I mean, it's literally, they call it the gift of life, and it is. It's the gift of life.
So tell me about your decision to reach out to Ed and share your story with him.
I just wanted him to know, and I feel like she had such an amazing impact on my life, and she changed my life so much. And I just wanted him to know that, because I wanted him to know that something positive did come out of this, that her losing her life had given me back mine. So
That's pretty amazing.
yes.
So Ed, you guys have been talking.
Yep.
You've talked on the phone. You've corresponded. What was it like to see her today?
It was emotional. It was emotional from a happiness perspective, but also from a sad perspective from Erin. But just listening to her getting her life back, it makes me smile. It's there's some good out of it, and people need to realize that it's such a simple thing to do, to be an organ donor.
It is.
Do you feel like you have a little part of Erin in you now?
I do. Like, I always because I've, read and looked up things about her and stuff like that. And it's kind of crazy, because I just I always kind of want to make her proud, I always kind of want to make her proud. So
Apparently you have to become a Hurricanes fan.
apparently that's out.
That's part of it. Yeah, that's part of the DNA.
That's part of it. Well, you guys, thank you so much for sharing your story here today. It's powerful, and it takes a lot of courage. Yeah. And I really, really appreciate it. And I think a lot of people out there who want to know more about organ donation, this will be a very important story for them. So thank you guys so much for your time today. And thank you for listening to the WRAL Daily Download and making us part of your morning routine. Another great way to get WRAL news is the Morning Briefing newsletter. It's a daily email waiting in your inbox every morning with Triangle news events and headlines to get you ready for the day. Sign up at WRAL.com/newsletter.